Amendment to the amendment in the name.
Without objection, further reading of the amendment will be dispensed with. The gentleman is recognized for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Madam Chair. My amendment will provide $2 million in grant funding for the Small Business Development Centers, SBDCs, over the course of the fiscal year 2022 through fiscal year 2031. Providing these grants to veteran-owned small businesses will allow them to have access to expanded funding, financial resources, and additional outreach opportunities. To note, my amendment doesn't call for additional funding. It instead seeks to reallocate leftover funding that was previously appropriated to the SBA and converts that unused funds to various SBDC programs across the country. Currently, there are 10 small business development centers in the state of Florida and one SBDC that is located within my district, specifically at Florida Gulf Coast University in Fort Myers. With the recent failures that the current administration is having, not to mention Afghanistan, but so many others, reallocating unused funds to veterans in need will emphasize our appreciation for those who risk their lives to serve in the United States military. We can't forget those Americans who fought for our country, and converting this leftover funding to provide veteran-owned small businesses with the support, financial counseling, and management information they need to run a successful small business can only help them. We must never forget Americans, especially those veterans who fought to uphold the American dream and the prosperity of America today. There's no better way of utilizing these unused funds than providing grant funding for small business development centers to assist veteran-owned small businesses. And I strongly urge your support for this amendment, and I yield back.
The gentleman yields back. Do other members wish to be recognized on the amendment? The gentlelady from Illinois, Ms. Newman, for what purpose are you seeking recognition?
I seek recognition to strike the last word, Madam.
The gentlelady is recognized for 5 minutes.
Thank you so much. So I applaud Mr. Donalds' efforts to support our veterans. I'm a huge fan of employing and supporting veteran entrepreneurs. And as a reminder, we did just that, right? In the last markup for HR 3469, the Veterans Entrepreneurial Act of 2021 supports our veterans holistically, and I'm really excited about that work. It's going to help a lot of veterans right in my district. So for that reason, I oppose the amendment offered by Congressman Donalds, which would strike the Office of Emerging Markets and redirect the funding for veteran-owned small business outreach. Access to affordable capital, as we all know, is one of the biggest challenges our small businesses face everywhere. I know we hear that from our small businesses in all of our districts. The COVID-19 pandemic shined a light on the stark disparities in lending, as the initial Paycheck Protection Program funds went predominantly to larger, better capitalized small businesses. It took dedicated set-asides for CDFIs and other mission-based lenders to ensure small firms in emerging markets got fair access to program funds. A concerted effort is needed to ensure SBA's capital access programs reach the smallest of the small businesses. And I can say that 100% in my district because I have a lot of micro businesses. With that said, I share my colleagues' support for SBDCs and veteran-owned small businesses, but this amendment only provides additional funding to the SBDCs, which may have the adverse effect of limiting outreach and engagement to veteran-owned small businesses. The committee has worked since the 115th Congress to codify for 5 years the Boots to Business program and continue to support and provide for America's veterans, transitioning service members, as well as their family members that want to launch or grow a small business. Moreover, this bill provides $35 million to assist small business veteran contractors. I am happy to work with my colleagues across the aisle to continue to improve outreach to veteran-owned small businesses, but believe that the resources we are giving to firms in lending, contracting, and entrepreneurial development investments in this bill are effective mechanisms to do just that. In closing, I urge my colleagues to oppose this amendment. Thank you, and I yield back.
The gentlelady yields back. Is there any further debate on the amendment?
Madam Chair, this is Congressman Luke Tamara. I move to strike last word.
The gentleman from Missouri is recognized for 5 minutes.
I want to thank the gentleman for his excellent amendment here with regards to, again, trying to help a group of people who we owe a great deal to our veterans. And I think the gentleman, having been in the lending business himself, comes from a district where there's a huge number of veterans in his constituency, understands the issue as well or better than anybody, and knows that this is something that's needed, would be very helpful to our veterans. And with that, I certainly support this amendment, urge its adoption, and I yield back my time.
The gentleman yields back. Is there any further debate on the amendment? I will recognize myself. I urge my colleagues to vote against this amendment since it undermines our efforts to provide affordable capital to small business owners. The question is on the amendment by the gentleman from Florida. I ask all members attending virtually to please unmute yourself for the vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say no.
No.
In the opinion of the chair, the noes have it. The amendment is not agreed to.
Madam Chair,
Madam Chair,
I would
vote.
request a recorded vote.
The gentleman has requested a recorded vote. A roll call vote is ordered pursuant to Committee Rule 13 and House Rule 11, Clause 2. Further proceedings on the amendment are postponed. And now we move to consider amendment number 19, Fisheral 1V1. For what purpose does the gentleman from Wisconsin seek recognition?
Madam Chair, I have an amendment at the desk.
The clerk will report the amendment.
Amendment to the amendment.
Without objection, further reading of the amendment will be dispensed with. The gentleman is recognized for 5 minutes.